Did you know that according to a Pew Research Center survey, more than 60% of women in long-term marriages admit that they feel less connected to their husbands as they age? What does that mean? Yes, millions of women around the world are gradually losing feelings for the man they once loved so much. They do not hate their husbands. They do not intentionally alienate their spouse. But one day, they realize that love is no longer the same. What happened? Marriage does not change overnight. It gradually fades away, years of unmet needs, words never spoken, and moments forgotten. According to National Library of Medicine, the divorce rate among people over 50 has doubled in the past 3 decades. This phenomenon is called gray divorce, divorce in old age. That means many women are leaving their marriages after decades of marriage. There are many husbands who don't understand what happened, don't know why their wives are becoming colder. So what is the real cause? This is not just your story. It is a reality that millions of couples are facing, but few people dare to speak frankly about it. The reason is not always the same out of love, which is realize how love should feel, and sometimes it comes from reasons very realistic. Today, we will explore: why do many women begin to change their feelings towards their husbands as they get older? What is happening in their psychology? Most importantly, how to change before it's too late. If you are a husband, a wife, or simply someone interested in a long-term marriage, please watch until the end of the video. Because what you're about to hear could be the key to keeping love alive even when old age comes. 1. The emotional burden become too big. Do you ever feel like you're the only one taking care of everything in the family? From remembering birthdays, arranging meetings, scheduling health checks, taking care of the house, all those little tasks seem invisible, but occupy your mind every day. According to a study from Pew Research Center, more than 70% of women in long-term marriages admit that they are the emotional breadwinners in the family, while men don't even realize it. Initially, women did these things because they loved their family, they wanted to take care of their loved ones. But over time, what happens? They start to feel tired. They feel exhausted. And the worst thing is, they feel like they are carrying the whole marriage on their backs, while their husbands simply exist in it. According to the National Library of Medicine, as men enter retirement, their mental stress levels decrease, but the opposite is true for women. Because even when men no longer work, they still do not automatically take on the role of household manager. Many women spend their lives taking care of others, then one day, they realize that no one really takes care of them. And when a wife begins to feel this way, gaps in the marriage also begin to form. 2. Meaningful communication is disappearing more and more. Do you still remember the first days when you two first fell in love? When conversations last for hours, when just a simple question like, "How are you today?" enough to make you feel cared for. But over time, everything changes. Conversations no longer revolve around each other's feelings, dreams, or thoughts. Instead, they become repetitive, bland, and business-like questions. What to eat today? Can you help me get the letter? What's on TV tonight? Then gradually, those conversations disappeared. According to the Harvard study of adult development, the happiest couples are those who maintain meaningful conversations. But in reality, most men stop actively communicating after marriage. Imagine a wife walks into the living room, wanting to tell her husband about the stressful day she just had. But instead of listening, her husband just nodded tearfully, his eyes still glued to the TV screen. At first, she may complain, she may try to get attention. But then over time, she stopped talking. Once a woman stops sharing, it is the most dangerous sign for marriage. She no longer feels heard. She no longer feels understood. She no longer feels appreciated. And feelings never disappear in a single moment. It fades day by day, month by month, year by year. Until one day, she looked at the man sitting across from her and realized that there was nothing left between the two of them. Marriage does not require lavish gifts or romantic promises. The most important thing is always to care and listen. 3. Household seems to never end. Have you ever felt housework is like a never-ending cycle? You clean, but then it gets messy again. You wash the dishes, but then the sink is full again. You remind, but then no one remembers. According to research by Pew Research Center, even in modern families, women still do more than 70% of the housework, even when they are retired. When you were young, you probably didn't think much about it. But as I get older, fatigue becomes a burden. You may not say it out loud, but inside, you wonder, why is it always me? This is not just about washing dishes or washing clothes. This is the feeling is taken for granted, feeling my efforts are not recognized. And when a woman feels that way long enough, frustration will gradually turn into resentment. 4. She developed, but her husband didn't. When young, husband and wife can build a life together, learn together, and grow together. But over time, not everyone wants to change. Many women enter middle age want to live more. They want to travel, want to learn a new skill, want to try experiences that they have not had the opportunity to before. But what if their husband has no need for personal development and does not want to explore new things? According to research by Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the biggest causes of long-term marital separation is as one continues to grow, while the other stagnates. At first, it may seem like just small differences. But over the years, that gap is getting bigger and bigger, to the point where one day, she looked back and felt I am beyond this marriage. It's not because she wants to leave, but because she cannot continue living in a relationship that is no longer compatible. 5. Loss of physical and emotional intimacy. Intimacy is not just physical. It was a loving look, a careless but loving touch, a feeling of knowing I'm still wanted, I'm still appreciated. But over time, many couples lose this. According to research by National Library of Medicine, more than 60% of women over 50 said they felt loss of intimacy in marriage, not only physically but also emotionally. And here's something that few people talk about. Women don't need intimacy just because of physical needs, but because that's a way for them to feel that they are still important in their husband's eyes. Once she no longer feels loved, no longer feeling the passion in her husband's eyes, she will quietly leave. Initially, it's emotional. Then there's the physical aspect. Until you two become two strangers living under the same roof. 6. Retirement, a dream or a nightmare. Retirement should be a time to enjoy life after many years of hard work. But in reality, for many women, this is the most stressful period in marriage. According to research by Pew Research Center, more than 50% of women feel their lives became more controlled when their husbands retired instead of having more freedom. Why? Because suddenly, their husbands were home all day. And many men don't know what to do with their huge amount of time. They don't have their own preferences. They don't have friends to hang out with. And slowly, they started depends on his wife to fill that void. They long for their wife serves as an entertainment center, always have to be present, always have to accompany them, always have to meet their needs. But what many men don't realize is, the woman has spent her entire life taking care of others. And at this age, she just wants to live for herself. 7. She realizes that life is too short to just exist. At some point, women begin to realize an undeniable truth. Time waits for no one. According to research by Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the most common reasons women leave marriage in middle age is not because they hate their husbands, but because they realize that they no longer want to live a life they don't truly enjoy. They begin to wonder, am I happy? Am I living a meaningful life? Is this the life I want? And if the answer is no, they will quietly leave. It's not because they don't care, but because they realize that I deserve more than that. Conclusion: love doesn't disappear, we just stop nourishing it. Marriage is not a destination. It is a recurring choice. Over the years, love does not naturally disappear. It gradually fades when it is no longer cared for, no longer nurtured, no longer appreciated. If you are a husband, ask yourself, when was the last time you really listened to your wife? When was the last time you showed her that she was still important to you? No one wants to live in a marriage that makes them feel uncomfortable and visible. And if you don't change, one day, when you look back, the woman who was everything to you is no longer there. Try doing something small for your partner today. It doesn't have to be anything big, just a sincere concern. A hello, a hug, a real conversation. Because sometimes, those little things are what keep a strong marriage. If you've ever felt like you're the only one trying in your marriage, share your thoughts. And if you believe that love needs to be nurtured every day, leave a comment. I choose to cherish my marriage. If you find this content meaningful, please share it with people you care about. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on stories that help you better understand love, marriage, and yourself.